Every human being who has ever lived shares one experience. At the end of their life, their body has to be dealt with. But how that body is treated, buried, burned, given to birds, danced with, depends entirely on what the culture believes about what a body actually is. Some religions treat the body as a sacred vessel to preserve for centuries. Others treat it as a prison to destroy as quickly as possible. Some feed it to vultures on mountaintops. Some dance with it every 7 years. Some keep it in the house for months, treating the deceased as merely sick. The feast in the sky. High in the Himalayas, at dawn, a designated body breaker climbs to a flat stone platform on a mountaintop, carrying a corpse. He begins cutting. He is not burying. He is not preparing for cremation. He is preparing a meal. Within minutes, the sky darkens. Vultures, dozens of them, sometimes over 100, descend from the peaks. They land on the platform. And in less than an hour, a full adult body is entirely consumed. Skin, muscle, organs, everything. The bones are then crushed with hammers, mixed with barley flour, and offered again to smaller birds so that nothing is left. No grave, no monument, no trace. This is the sky burial, practiced for over 1,000 years in Tibetan Buddhist tradition. The body is an empty shell once the soul has left it. Its final act of generosity is to feed other living creatures. Attachment to the corpse, they say, is spiritual immaturity. The Tower of Silence. On the outskirts of Mumbai and on a hill outside Yazd in Iran stand strange circular stone towers, roofless, open to the sky. Inside, along the rim, are 3 concentric rings of stone slabs, one for men, one for women, one for children. When a person dies, their body is carried to the tower and laid on the appropriate ring. Then the mourners leave and the tower is closed. Within hours, the vultures come. The Zoroastrians believe fire, water, and earth are sacred elements of creation. A corpse is spiritually impure at the moment of death. To burn it would pollute fire. To bury it would pollute earth. To sink it would pollute water. So the only option is the sky. The bones then bleach in the sun for months, until they are swept into a central pit at the tower's heart. Only a few dozen of these towers still function today. Dancing with the bones. Every 5 to 7 years, in villages across the highlands of Madagascar, families dig up their ancestors. They pull the coffins from the family tombs. They open them, and they take out the wrapped remains, some fresh, some skeletal, some decomposed to the point of near liquid, and lay them out in the sun. Then the music starts. Trumpets, drums, a band paid for the occasion. And the entire family, sometimes several hundred people, begins to dance. They lift the wrapped bodies of their grandfathers and great-grandmothers into their arms. They pass them from person to person. They spray them with perfume and wine. They talk to them. They tell the ancestors everything that has happened since the last dance. The ritual is called famadihana, the turning of the bones. Until a body has fully decomposed, the Malagasy believe the ancestor spirit remains partially in this world and must be visited, celebrated, and given fresh cloth every few years. The sick who never recover. In the Toraja highlands of Sulawesi, Indonesia, when a family member dies, the family does not say the word dead. They say the person is sick, and they treat them exactly as such. The body is embalmed with formaldehyde and traditional herbs and kept in a room of the family home for weeks, months, sometimes years. During that entire time, the family speaks to the corpse, brings it meals 3 times a day, changes its clothes, introduces it to visitors. The reason for the delay is financial. A Toraja funeral costs tens of thousands of dollars and requires the sacrifice of dozens of water buffalo. Until the money is saved, the deceased simply remains at home, recovering. And even after burial, the ritual continues. Every August, the corpses are exhumed in a ceremony called manon. Families remove the mummified remains, wipe them clean, dress them in fresh new clothing, stand them upright, and take family photographs with them. A dead grandfather in a new suit, beside his descendants, smiling into a camera. The cracked skull. There is a sound at the Ganges. It happens in the middle of every Hindu cremation, roughly halfway through the burning. The eldest son, whose head has been shaved for the occasion, approaches the pyre with a bamboo stick. He walks to the head end, he raises the stick, and he strikes the burning skull hard enough to crack it open. The ritual is called Kapal Kriya, the skull ceremony. Hindu belief holds that the Atman, the eternal soul, exits through the top of the skull. During cremation, that opening must be forced by the sun so that the soul is freed from its prison and can begin its next reincarnation. The rest of the ritual is equally striking. The body is carried through public streets on a bamboo stretcher in full view of anyone passing. It is bathed in Ganges water and covered in ghee. The pyre is lit at the mouth, and after several hours, the ashes and bone fragments are poured into the river. The body is temporary. Fire is release. The Ganges is the road home. The skull drinkers. On the burning ghats of Varanasi among the pyres sits a man covered in white ash. He is naked, or nearly so. His hair is matted into ropes. Around his neck hangs a garland of human skulls. In his hand is a bowl, carved, if you look closely, from the top of a human cranium, and he is drinking from it. He is not homeless. He is not deranged. He is an Aghori, a member of the most extreme sect of Hinduism still practiced today. The Aghori believe spiritual liberation requires the abolition of every human aversion. So they deliberately do everything a human being is naturally disgusted by. They live on cremation grounds. They meditate sitting on fresh corpses pulled from the river. They eat food from human skulls. And, according to journalists who have documented them, some Aghori consume small pieces of human flesh from the funeral pyres. Whoever can eat a corpse without disgust, they claim, has transcended the illusion of the body entirely. The brain through the nose. The tool was a long iron hook. It was inserted through the nostril, pushed upward through the nasal cavity into the skull, then rotated slowly, methodically, to break down the brain tissue. Once liquefied, the brain was drained out through the same nostril into a bowl. This was the first step of the 70-day process the ancient Egyptians used to prepare a body for eternity. After the brain came the organs. The stomach, lungs, liver, and intestines were removed and stored in 4 sacred canopic jars, each with the head of a different god carved into the lid. Only the heart was left in the body, because on the Day of Judgment, the god Anubis would weigh it against a single feather. The body was then packed in natron salt for 40 days, wrapped in hundreds of meters of linen, and sealed in a tomb filled with everything the pharaoh would need in the next life: food, gold, sometimes servants buried alive. The painted face. The smell of a Christian wake is unmistakable: cut flowers, old wood, the faint chemical trace of formaldehyde. Inside, a coffin, padded, lined with silk, and inside it, the deceased, dressed in his best suit, hair combed, face carefully painted with cosmetics to restore the color of life to a body that no longer has any. The body has been embalmed, its blood has been drained and replaced with preservative chemicals. Its features have been adjusted to appear peaceful, and it will now be displayed sometimes for several days so that family, friends, and neighbors can approach, look, touch, kiss the forehead, and say goodbye. Then, a church service, a eulogy, hymns, burial in a cemetery, marked by a headstone that will remain for generations. The message is unmistakable. This body is precious. Death is not a rush. It is a ceremony that unfolds slowly, in front of the community, in the presence of the visible remains. The silent guardian. From the moment a Jewish person dies until the moment they are buried, they are never alone. Someone is always with the body. The tradition calls this person the shomer, the guardian. He or she sits in the room without leaving even to sleep, reciting psalms from the book of Tehillim. Shifts rotate through the family and community. The dead are never abandoned to solitude. The burial itself follows quickly, usually within 24 hours. The body is washed in a ritual called tahara and dressed in a simple white linen shroud identical for every Jew, rich or poor. No jewelry, no cosmetics. The coffin is plain pine, unadorned, with holes drilled into the bottom so that the body can return to the earth unimpeded. Jewish tradition holds that the soul lingers near the body from death until burial, confused and slowly separating. Leaving it alone is considered cruel to the soul. So the guardian stays and reads so that the soul may hear a familiar voice as it departs. Of every ritual in this video, this one is the closest to the tradition we are about to see. Hours, not days. There is no wake, no display, no embalming, no music, no dance, no pyre, no feast for birds. There is only speed. From the moment a Muslim dies, the family begins racing the clock. The body is washed with water and lote leaves by close relatives of the same gender, wrapped in 3 simple white sheets, for a man, 5 for a woman. No coffin, the body is placed directly into the earth on its right side, facing Makkah. No jewelry, no cosmetics, no possessions, no marker beyond a simple stone. The whole ritual is often complete within 24 hours, sometimes within 4. Why the speed? Because Islam teaches that the reckoning of the soul begins the moment it separates from the body. To delay burial is to delay a soul's journey. To display the corpse is to disrespect a thing that no longer belongs to us. But the deepest reason is philosophical. The answer to the question every other ritual in this video has tried to answer, what is a body after death, is unique in Islam. It is not a prison to be burned. It is not a shell to be fed to birds. It is not a vessel to preserve for centuries. It is not a family member to keep in the house. It is not an offering to pose with in photographs. It is a trust, returned quickly, humbly, whole, to the earth from which it came, awaiting the day it will rise again.